So this time Johnny Depp's not playing a pirate, he's not playing a candy factory weirdo, and he's not playing a Native American stereotype. So we can do away with the funny accents and the weird mannerisms, right? Maybe not. Okay, the movie is Transcendence. Transcendence is a movie in which an anti artificial intelligence terrorist group has targeted artificial intelligence researchers from around the world and killed several. One of the survivors, a man by the name of Will Castor, is shot with a radioactive bullet, so he's dying. And his wife, Evelyn, decides to upload his brain pattern into an existing AI called Pin so that he can live, if you will. The hero of this movie is actually not Johnny Depp. It's Rebecca Hall as Evelyn Castor. She's a relatively sympathetic grieving widow, well, soon to be widow, and she's likable, but she has understandably poor judgment in this matter. She's not thinking things through, largely because of her impending grief. Um, Rebecca Hall is pretty believable in the role. She carries the weight and the emotion of the grieving wife fairly well. Um, the villain, such as it is in this film, is Johnny Depp as Will Castor. He's the eccentric genius with an aversion to government influence in his research. He doesn't particularly care for public speaking. Um, Johnny Depp is an actor who's got leading man looks and he's got leading man talent, but he's got character actor instincts. So anytime you put him in a movie, he tries to play a character instead of a role. And he does that again here. It's not quite as bad as what he does in some of his other roles, if you want to call it bad. He's actually really good at it, but it's somewhat distracting sometimes. He's less distracting here. He slurs his speech slightly in this part for some reason, and he gives Will Castor the a sort of a slight British accent, which might actually be a result of the fact that Johnny Depp, I believe, actually lives in Britain most of the time. But he's got a very slight British accent. It's noticeable. It seems like he is trying to get at some kind of a character here. As the film goes on, Castor, as the AI version of Castor, gets creepier and creepier in his goals and his actions. And by the end of the film, it's not too hard to be rooting against him because he does get really creepy. For a mentor, you have an actor named Paul Bettany as Max Waters, who is another AI scientist and a close friend of Will Castor. Max is clearly in love with Evelyn. Um, Max is not the teaching, learning sort of mentor that you're used to in most films. He's more of a moral mentor. He is the only one who's voicing doubt about some of the weird decisions that Evelyn is making in her grief. He's the guy that's like, maybe you shouldn't upload the super genius into the AI that wants to expand across the entire globe. That might be bad. Um, for allies, you have Morgan Freeman as a character named Joseph Tagger, who's one of the other AI scientists who survived the global attacks. He's the one that does work with the government. You also have Cillian Murphy as an FBI agent named Donald Buchanan, who is an FBI agent who is working on the terrorists case where they killed all the AI scientists and later trying to stop the AI version of Will Castor. Um, for enemies, Kate Mara plays a woman named Bree, who's the leader of the anti-terrorist group, and she seems far too sane to lead a group that is as viciously murderous as they are. She's relatively memorable, but her part feels superfluous, unnecessary, or possibly just underexplored. Um, the upside of this film is that it is a decent movie. It is not boring. It's got fairly good acting on all levels, and it's well directed and has some pretty nice special effects. The downside of this film is it feels horribly compressed. This feels like it should have been a television show, at least one full 22 episode season. Many of the minor aspects of the story feel like they would have been fascinating if they were fleshed out. Um, Max Waters' feelings for Evelyn, Morgan Freeman's work with the government, Cillian Murphy as an FBI agent who is an AI expert to some degree, um, and as I said before, Bree and her terrorist group were they felt very underexplored. There seems like there was a lot more going on there than we got in this film. A lot of potentially cool story threads are just glossed over, and way too much that's happening is left untold. I have to give the film 3 stars because it is good, but in the right hands, this could have been a 4 or maybe even a 5-star TV show. But as a film, it's only 3 stars.